Hello everyone, my name is Mr. B and welcome back to another video. So this anime season has had a lot of really good shows in my opinion, from Free Reign to Jujutsu Kaisen to 100 Girlfriends to Apothecary Diaries. There's a plethora of shows for people to choose from this season. I've been trying my best to catch up with as many of these shows as I could, and one show this season caught my attention because of how average it is. It is a show that is so average, it adds nothing new to the genre it's in. It's a show with such a predictable format and with such a boring title that you'd probably mistake it for one of my videos. The show that I am talking about is called Shy, a new superhero anime this season that is so unbelievably average. But despite that, it is a show that I had so much fun watching. Why? Well, let's talk about it. I first found out about Shy when I went to a bookstore and I was just walking around, browsing around the manga section as usual, and I noticed a section for fall anime this season. And I took a look at the mangas that they have, and one manga caught my attention. A manga with a white-haired girl in the front and the words Shy plastered in front of it. Curious because I have never heard of this anime before, I decided to pick it up and I read it. I read the first volume only at this point and I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of interesting. It had some pretty good characters, had some really good moments and really good messages. The overall art style of the manga was just pretty good. It was an overall solid manga, which kind of surprised me because I have never heard of this manga before. I have never heard of a manga called Shy before this, and let alone I have no idea that the anime was out this season. After reading the manga, I decided to give the anime a go, and I understand why I haven't heard of the anime before this, and why I probably haven't heard of the manga prior to this. Shy is, well, at this point, a superhero anime that is set in a world with no wars and no conflicts. This is because of the emergence of superpowered beings known as superheroes just all across the globe. And of course, the superheroes are there and are in charge of maintaining the peace. Pretty much every country has their own dedicated superhero. One of these superheroes is Shy, a middle schooler who is also happened to be Japan's representative, Japan's very own superhero. Why is she called Shy?
彼女シャイなんです。
Well, that explains it. The story focuses on Shy's growth as a hero, as a character, as well as the emergence of a new threat in this world. The anime is being adapted by 8-Bit Studios, who apparently did the Slime anime and Blue Lock. So they've done some pretty solid work so far. It is also directed by Masami Ando, who did Toilet Blonde Hanako-kun and Kanata no Astra, which in my opinion is a very, very underrated show. So the people who are working in this anime have done some pretty solid work so far, but I'm going to talk about the work in Shy. At the time of me recording this, the MAL ratings for Shy, my anime list ratings for Shy, it stands at a 6.66 at the time of me recording this. When you look at MAL ratings, anything below a 7 is considered to be very, very average. You should definitely not watch it, or just straight up bad. I know MAL ratings aren't the end all and be all of anime ratings, but from my understanding, from my knowledge, this is probably the best way to gauge what people think about a certain anime. So, judging by this alone, it's clear that the anime isn't really doing as well or isn't really well received by fans. And after watching the show a bit, you can sort of see why the rating is as it is. Starting with the animation. The animation for Shy is, to put it simply, average. It is so unbelievably average. While it does look good, average does not mean does not look good. It still looks good. There's nothing to write home about. I don't want to be this guy, but compared to the manga, the anime's art style is just inferior to the art style from the manga. And this of course impacts some of the more emotional, some of the big moments that happens in the anime. And while it's still done pretty well in my opinion, it didn't hit as hard as it did in the manga, at least in my opinion. But saying that, however, I think there is a certain level of charm in this anime. While sure, it's not the best and the fight scenes are, as far as I've seen, atrocious, but it's still pretty good. It's still pretty solid. I think the animators and the director, the people in charge of animating the show, I think they did quite well-ish. I think they put a lot of love into this anime, into animating this anime. You can sort of forgive them a bit for having such a generic anime. Maybe they didn't have enough budget, maybe they didn't have the right people working in this anime. Who knows? Maybe it's some internal stuff, who knows? But speaking for the product that they've given us, I think the animation, while being so unbelievably average, is okay. It is still really good to look at. The characters, while not as good as they are in the manga, still look pretty good in my opinion. Some of the moments, while didn't hit as hard as the manga, was still pretty good in my opinion. And the only thing I could criticize is probably like there's a lot of like still images, whereas the fights are just stills, which is kind of disappointing for a fight scene. But I do quite like a lot of the animation, despite its flaws. I mentioned a bit about the story and how it focuses on this new threat, which I'm not going to talk about because of spoilers, and also Shai's growth as a character and as a hero. Shai, as the name suggests, is very, very shy. She doesn't have confidence in her abilities. She's a shut-in. She scared to talk to people, the whole shebang. Saying that, I think Shy is a lot more relatable than what some people might think. I mean, think about it. This is a middle schooler who is chosen to be a hero and has little to no experience of being a hero, has little to no guidance of being a hero, and is supposed to represent their country and becoming the hero. That's an insane amount of pressure when you think about it. So Shy isn't shy because for the sake of, oh, I'm quirky, I'm shy, I'm just like everyone else, I'm so shy. Ugh. No, she is actually shy for a really good reason. She is a middle schooler. She is a damn child. And she's given so much burden and so much responsibility. Naturally, people are going to be nervous, people are going to be scared, people are going to be shy because of it. During one moment in the anime, Shy makes a mistake and is judged and heavily criticized because of it. One person in the anime even mentioned, is it right to trust the country, the safety of the people, to a little girl? That's the charm of Shy as a character, and seeing her grow and overcoming these adversities, grow as a character, grow to become the superhero that people can trust on. I know this is not the most innovative concept out there, but there's something about seeing an underdog, seeing someone overcoming adversities, just grow to become a better person and prove people wrong and be the hero that they were meant to be. To me, that is why I fell in love with Shy. That is why, despite how generic the anime is, I absolutely love Shy. These moments of overcoming adversities are what makes people love superhero movies in the first place. It's what draws people into superheroes. And despite how generic Shy is, it's that reason why I fell in love with this show. It's why I enjoying this show so much. I grew up during the height of its superhero genre. I remember going to the theaters to watch the first Iron Man movie, not knowing that it was the beginning of the golden age of superhero movies. But recently, we're seeing a massive, massive drop in quality in superhero movies. Marvel are still trying to make their multiverse stuff work. DC are hitting the reset button, and more people are growing tired and just bored of superhero movies, and who can blame them? I know there's shows like Invincibles and The Boys, which admittedly I should give a watch, but I feel like these shows are more geared towards a different take on superheroes rather than a conventional superhero story. I missed a time where we could go to a theater to watch a superhero movie that had little to no connection with a different movie in the franchise, where you don't have to have prior knowledge to go into watching a superhero movie. Sure, these stories are cliche and generic. A lot of people have sort of see the pattern with origin stories, for example, but I think we're at that point in time where it's fine to have a generic, by the book superhero story so long as just written well. Take, for example, the Batman. It is a story of Batman that we've seen time and time again with just different villains and told in a different way, but it's still, at the end of the day, just about a guy in a bat suit who's super rich beating up criminals. Look at the recent Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Sure, these are two different Spider-Man movies, but they deal with the same thing, the struggle of Spider-Man trying to save as many people as they can. Along with having good stories, these movies also have traits that embody what makes people fall in love with the superhero genre in the first place. And I feel like nowadays superhero movies sort of lost that. That and also terrible writing, of course. The writing recently has just been terrible. It's for these reasons why I enjoyed watching Shy. Sure, it's not the best anime of the season, far from it. If you're like me and you're tired of seeing all these stuff that superhero movies try to make and fail, and you just want a conventional, a simple, a straightforward superhero story, then why not give Shy a go? It might not blow your socks off, but if you're like me, you're probably going to have a fun time watching. That is all I have to say for this video, so leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.